you think, this is like my observation, that we started with website, Facebook, and then we are going back again to content? Because that's from where we started, right? Creative agencies, content has always... What's your thought on content?
I would say content is the buzzword for today. So everyone wants to talk about being a content creator.
And viral content too.
Absolutely. But content is very important. It is the underlying thing that ties payroll, learn, media together. If you look at it, to take on the onus of content creation fully by a marketer, I would say, is extremely difficult and extremely challenging. And the other thing is, content is not about taking a TVC and putting it on YouTube or putting it on your website, which a lot of people do tend to do that as content. You actually need to look at the consumer first, see what the consumer needs. Is your content delivering utility? Is it delivering entertainment? Is it delivering information? Obviously, it has to be engaging for the consumer. So like I said, it's very hard for a marketer to take on the onus of content creation individually, and I think it becomes very important to have co-creators who develop the content with you. There can be various types of co-creators. So for example, we have relationships with various creative personalities, whether they be artists, whether they be musicians, and whatever the brands need from time to time, and people who are able to generate interesting content. The other thing is also tying up with content creators. So for example, in the US, Digital MPI is tied up with BuzzFeed. We are looking at similar tie-ups with people like Scoop Group, etc. And thirdly, of course, there's user-generated content, but there you run the risk of quality, and that sometimes needs to be moderated. Content is very important. And
interesting. When you talk about user-generated content, it's also been a trend for the brands. They are more trying out user-generated content or content co-creation with their fans. And what's your thought on that?
So we actively do it. In fact, one of the things we did very recently was for Tata Safari, where we did a co-creation of an entire song where we ran a contest for a day. We ran a contest on Twitter, and we invited lyrics for the songs. And that's how we got the entire lyrics for the song. We got some YouTube specialists to actually use YouTube musicians to create a song out of it, and it did very, very well. One more thing on content, the other thing people tend to ignore on content is, besides co-creation, besides UGC, it's also we tend to ignore the social influencers who today are playing a huge leadership role in their micro communities. And so it's important to tap those people also, and they do create some great content. And one of the recent activities we did on using social influencers was for Tata Nano, where we did an activity around a bidding war. We picked 6 influencers and we did a bidding war. It was a 3-day activity where the fans were supporting their respective influencers, and that did very well for the brand. It trended nationally on Twitter, it trended worldwide as well. So.
Good, you took this part of influencers. I'll ask one question here quickly. Yes, social media has given the power to a common man to bring his own intelligence and build his own community. But then there is a misuse, a big misuse of the entire social media influencers kind of a thing, where all brands, agencies, and social media influencers all are to be blamed, right? And then we saw the madness of selecting social media influencers just because on the numbers game.
So in fact, this one, we do that actively. So we take specialists in the field. This was a very different activity.
Right.
It was to bring out the new color range for the Nano. So it was more about colors and the playfulness of the whole youthfulness and awesomeness of the car. And which is why we picked the influencer. It's not like we just sat with an influencer database and said these are the 6 most influential people. We applied the filter of what's right for the brand, who the right people would be, and then selected the 6 influencers.
It's first half of 2014. You guys have done some interesting work. Any work that you want to share just stood out? Why?
So one of the things we did, which was very interesting, and again from the area of content creation, was the Durex campaign, which was Do the Rex.
Right.
I'm sure you've seen it in some form or the other.
Yeah.
And the interesting part of that was, it started with the insight saying while Indians definitely have sex in our population, they don't want to talk about it openly. So the insight we took is, how do we make them talk about it? Because not talking about it, and I don't mean talking about it and boasting about it, but it was not talking about the subject, was leading to things like unwanted pregnancies, sexually transmitted disease, because people were embarrassed to talk about it.
True.
Now our whole thing was be open about it. So it was more to bring out, celebrate good sex. So it started to get people talking about it. If you see the activity, we tied up with bloggers. We did the YouTube video. And we've got a great response over there. I mean, I can send you the results if you like, or the case study, but I think that's one of the best pieces of work we've done.